Power costs everything. I just didn't know it would cost her.
Adrian?
Hello, Elena.
Adrian Corleone Stark had spent years mastering silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that swallowed emotion, buried regret, and turned a man into something untouchable. It was the kind of silence that filled rooms when he walked in, the kind that made powerful men choose their words carefully and weaker men avoid his gaze entirely. But tonight, that silence felt different. The message on his phone refused to leave his mind. She needs help. And you're the only one who can save her. He didn't like the way it unsettled him. Adrian had built his empire on certainty. Every decision calculated. Every risk controlled. Every outcome predicted. This wasn't predictable. He walked away from the window, his polished shoes barely making a sound against the marble floor. The penthouse felt colder now, despite the quiet hum of the city outside. Chicago. He hadn't been back in years. Not since he walked away from the only life that had ever felt real. Adrian picked up his phone again, staring at the message as if it might reveal more if he looked long enough. She. There was only one person that word could mean. His chest tightened, a rare, unwelcome feeling. Elena. He exhaled slowly, steadying himself. No. That chapter was closed. Buried. Gone. And yet, something in his gut told him otherwise. Miles away, in a quieter part of Chicago, Elena Monroe Hale was trying not to fall apart. The small community center smelled faintly of coffee and old books. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting uneven shadows across the worn wooden floors. It wasn't much, but it was hers, a place where broken people came to feel seen, even if just for a moment. Elena sat at her desk, staring at a stack of unpaid bills. Her fingers trembled slightly as she pressed them against her temples. Not now, she whispered to herself. She couldn't afford to break. Not when so many people depended on her. Not when everything she had worked for was slipping through her fingers. A soft knock came at the door. Elena, a gentle voice called. She looked up to see Daniel Hawthorne leaning against the frame, concern written all over his face. He had been her closest friend for years, steady, reliable, the kind of person who stayed when others walked away. "You're still here?" he asked, stepping inside. She forced a small smile. "Where else would I be?" Daniel didn't smile back. He never let her hide behind half-truths. "What's wrong?" he asked quietly. Elena hesitated. She hated this part, admitting she didn't have everything under control. "They're shutting us down," she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. Daniel's expression hardened. "What?" "The funding's gone. The building's being bought out." She swallowed. "We have less than a week." Silence filled the room. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, pacing slightly. "That doesn't make sense. This place, Elena, this place saves people." "I know," she said, her voice breaking despite her effort to stay composed. "But that doesn't matter to people who only see profit." Her eyes dropped to the papers on her desk. "There's only one person who could stop this," she added, almost reluctantly. Daniel stopped pacing. He already knew where this was going. "No," he said firmly. Elena looked up. "I didn't say anything." "You didn't have to." His jaw tightened. "You're thinking about him." She didn't respond. That was answer enough. Daniel shook his head. "After everything he did? After the way he left? You think he's just going to show up and fix this?" "I don't know," Elena admitted. And that was the truth. She didn't know what Adrian had become. She didn't know if the man she once loved even existed anymore. But she did know one thing. If there was even the smallest chance he could help, she had to try. Back in New York, Adrian had already made his decision. His assistant barely had time to process it. "You're canceling tomorrow's meetings?" she asked, confusion slipping into her otherwise perfect professionalism. "Yes. And the investors from Los Angeles. Reschedule them." She blinked. "May I ask where you're going?" Adrian adjusted his cufflinks, his expression unreadable. "Chicago." The word felt heavier than it should. His assistant hesitated. "Is everything all right?" Adrian paused. For a brief moment, something flickered in his eyes, something almost human. "No," he said quietly. Then he walked away. The private jet cut through the night sky like a decision he couldn't undo. Adrian sat alone, staring out into the darkness. He had spent years convincing himself that leaving Chicago had been necessary. That love was a weakness he couldn't afford. That power required sacrifice. But now, he wasn't so sure. Because for the first time in a long time, he wasn't running towards something. He was running back. And he didn't know what he would find when he got there. The next morning, Chicago greeted him with cold air and memories he couldn't escape. Everything looked the same. And yet, nothing felt familiar. Adrian stepped out of the car, his eyes scanning the streets with quiet intensity. Every corner held a piece of his past, some good, most not. But one place mattered more than the rest. The community center. He stood across the street, staring at it. It was smaller than he remembered. More fragile. More real. For a moment, he didn't move. This was it. The point of no return. Because walking through those doors didn't just mean facing Elena. It meant facing the man he used to be. And Adrian Corleone Stark wasn't sure which version of himself would walk back out. He took a step forward. Then another. And as his hand reached for the door, he realized something that sent a quiet shock through him. For the first time in years, he was afraid. Not of losing power. Not of losing control. But of losing her, all over again. And inside that building, Elena had no idea that the man who once broke her heart was about to walk back into her life. The door creaked slightly as it opened, a small, ordinary sound that somehow felt louder than anything Adrian Corleone Stark had ever heard. Inside, the air was warmer than outside, carrying the faint scent of coffee, paper, and something softer, hope, maybe. It hit him in a way he wasn't prepared for. For a moment, no one noticed him. A few people sat scattered around the room, some reading, some talking quietly, others simply existing in a space that felt safe. It was nothing like the world Adrian had built. This place didn't run on power. It ran on care. And that made it far more dangerous to him than any rival ever had. "Elena," a voice called from down the hallway. Adrian's chest tightened at the sound of her name. Footsteps followed. Then she appeared. Elena Monroe Hale stepped into the room, holding a stack of papers, her attention focused on something behind her. "Make sure Mrs. Alvarez gets the medication list before she leaves," she said gently. "And remind." She stopped. The papers slipped slightly in her hands. For a moment, neither of them moved. Time didn't just slow, it fractured. Adrian saw it all at once. The same eyes. The same quiet strength. But there was something new too, weariness, hidden beneath her composure, like she had been carrying too much for too long. Elena stared at him like she wasn't sure he was real. "Adrian," she said, his name barely more than a breath. He swallowed. "Hello, Elena." The simplicity of it, the normalcy, felt almost cruel. Because nothing about this was normal. The room around them seemed to disappear. Years of silence, of unanswered questions, of pain, all collapsed into that one moment. Elena recovered first. She straightened slightly, her expression hardening, not cold, but guarded. "You shouldn't be here," she said. Honest. Direct. Just like she always was. Adrian nodded once. "I know." "Then why are you?" "Because someone said you needed help. Because I never stopped thinking about you. Because leaving you was the one decision I regret more than anything." But Adrian didn't say any of that. Instead, he said the only thing he could manage. "I came because I heard you might need it." Elena let out a small, humorless laugh. "Help?" she repeated. "That's interesting, coming from you." The words weren't loud, but they carried weight. History. Pain. Adrian didn't flinch, but he felt it. "I deserve that," he said quietly. That caught her off guard. She studied him more closely now, as if trying to reconcile the man in front of her with the one she used to know. "You don't get to walk back into my life like nothing happened," she said. "I'm not asking for that." "Then what are you asking for?" Adrian hesitated. And for a man who always had answers, that hesitation meant everything. "A chance," he said finally. Elena's grip tightened on the papers in her hand. "You already had one." The silence that followed was heavier than anything either of them could say. Before Adrian could respond, another voice cut in. "Elena, is everything?" Daniel Hawthorne stepped into the room and stopped immediately when he saw Adrian. The temperature dropped. Daniel's expression shifted from concern to recognition, then to something much sharper. "So it's true," he said, his tone guarded. Adrian turned slightly, meeting his gaze. "Daniel." They didn't shake hands. They didn't need to. Everything between them was already understood. "You've got some nerve showing up here," Daniel said. Adrian didn't argue. "I'm aware." Elena stepped between them, her voice steady but tense. "This isn't helping." Daniel exhaled, running a hand through his hair. "He's the last person you should be trusting right now," he said, not taking his eyes off Adrian. "I'm not trusting him," Elena replied. But something in her voice made it clear. She wasn't completely sure. Adrian noticed it. And for the first time since he arrived, a small crack of hope slipped through. Later that evening, the tension hadn't faded, it had only shifted. Elena stood outside the building, arms wrapped around herself as the cold Chicago air settled in. The city hummed quietly around her, but her mind was louder. She hadn't expected to ever see him again. She had spent years convincing herself she was okay with that. And now he was here. Standing in the same space. Looking at her like she still mattered. Footsteps approached behind her. She didn't turn around. "You always did this," Adrian said softly. "Did what?" "Stayed outside when something was bothering you." Elena let out a slow breath. "And you always thought you understood why." Adrian stepped beside her, keeping a respectful distance. "Maybe I didn't," he admitted. "But I'm trying to now." She finally looked at him. "Why did you really come back, Adrian?" This time, he didn't deflect. "Because I never stopped regretting the day I left." The honesty in his voice caught her off guard. For a moment, she saw it. Not the powerful man. Not the empire builder. Just Adrian. The man she once loved. But pain doesn't disappear that easily. Regret doesn't fix anything, she said quietly. "No," he agreed. "But maybe it can start something." Elena shook her head slightly, looking away again. "You don't get to just come back and start something," she said. "Not after everything." Adrian's jaw tightened. "I know." Silence stretched between them again. Then Elena spoke, her voice softer this time. The center is being taken over, she said. Some development company. They've already made their move. Adrian's attention sharpened instantly. Who? They haven't made that clear yet. Everything's been quiet. Too quiet. That was all Adrian needed to hear. Because in his world, silence like that meant one thing. Power. Hidden power. And if someone was moving quietly in Chicago, there was a very real chance Adrian already knew who was behind it. His expression darkened slightly. What? Elena asked, noticing the shift. Adrian looked at her, something calculated returning to his eyes. This isn't just a property deal, he said. Then what is it? He hesitated. Because saying it out loud would pull her deeper into a world she didn't belong in. A problem, he said finally. One I intend to solve. Elena frowned. That's exactly what I'm worried about. He stepped closer, not enough to overwhelm her, but enough to be felt. I won't let anything happen to you, he said. The words were simple. But they carried something undeniable. Promise. Elena's heart betrayed her for a second, tightening at the sincerity in his voice. That's not your decision to make, she said, though her voice wasn't as strong as before. No, Adrian agreed. But it's one I'm making anyway. And in that moment, Elena realized something that unsettled her more than his return itself. Adrian Corleone Stark hadn't just come back to help. He had come back to fight. And whatever was coming was bigger than both of them. The next morning didn't bring clarity. It brought tension. Elena barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Adrian standing in that doorway again, unchanged in presence, yet entirely different in the way he looked at her. Not with arrogance. Not with distance. But with something that felt dangerously close to longing. She hated that it affected her. She hated even more that part of her didn't want it to stop. By the time she arrived at the community center, the air already felt wrong. Too quiet. Too still. And then she saw it. A black SUV parked across the street. Elena slowed her steps, her instincts tightening. Two men stood beside the vehicle, dressed sharply, watching the building, not openly threatening, but not subtle either. Waiting. Observing. Her stomach dropped. This wasn't normal. Elena. She turned to see Daniel walking quickly toward her, his expression tense. You saw them? He asked under his breath. She nodded. Do you know who they are? Daniel shook his head. No. But they've been here since early morning. Elena's chest tightened. This is happening faster than I thought, she whispered. Before Daniel could respond, another voice cut in, calm, controlled. They're not here to watch, Adrian said. They're here to send a message. Elena turned sharply. Adrian stood a few steps behind them, hands in his coat pockets, his gaze locked on the SUV across the street. His posture was relaxed, but there was something dangerous beneath it, something calculated. How do you know that? Daniel asked, suspicion clear in his voice. Adrian didn't look at him. Because I've used the same tactic before. That answer landed heavier than either of them expected. Elena studied Adrian, a flicker of unease rising in her chest. You're saying this is personal? She asked. Adrian's jaw tightened slightly. I'm saying whoever is behind this knows exactly what they're doing. And you think they know you're here? Daniel pressed. This time, Adrian didn't answer immediately. That silence was the answer. By midday, the tension had escalated. A formal notice arrived, final and cold. The building would be seized within 72 hours. No extensions. No negotiations. No mercy. Elena held the paper in her hands, her fingers trembling despite her effort to stay composed. This doesn't make sense, she said. They're not even trying to talk to us. Because they don't need to, Adrian replied. He stood across from her desk, his presence filling the room in a way that made everything feel smaller and more intense. They're counting on pressure, he continued. Fear. Urgency. They want you to panic. Elena looked up at him. And what happens if I don't? Adrian's expression darkened slightly. Then they escalate. The words hung in the air. Daniel crossed his arms. And you know all this because, what? You've done it before. Adrian finally met his gaze. Yes. There was no apology in his voice. Just truth. Elena felt it, that clash between who Adrian was and who he had been to her. You said you wanted to help, she said. So help. Tell us what we're really dealing with. Adrian hesitated. Because this was the line. The moment where keeping her safe meant telling her things that would pull her deeper into danger. But Elena had never been someone who could be protected by lies. All right, he said quietly. He stepped closer, lowering his voice slightly. This isn't just about the building, he said. It's about location. Elena frowned. What do you mean? Adrian gestured subtly around them. This area, it's undervalued. But not for long. Someone is planning a major redevelopment project. And they don't want obstacles. Obstacles? Daniel repeated. Adrian looked directly at Elena. You. She felt the weight of that word settle in her chest. Why me? She asked. Because you won't leave, Adrian said. Because you fight. Because you care more about people than profit. Elena shook her head. That doesn't make me a target. In your world, no, Adrian said. In mine, it makes you a problem. Silence fell again. But this time, it wasn't just tension. It was realization. That evening, Elena found herself alone in the main hall of the center. The lights were dim, casting long shadows across the room. Everything felt more fragile now, like it could disappear at any moment. She ran her fingers along the back of a chair, grounding herself. You're thinking about giving up. Adrian's voice came from behind her. She didn't turn around. I'm thinking about being realistic, she said. Adrian stepped closer. That's not the same thing. Elena let out a quiet breath. You don't understand. Then help me understand. She turned to face him now, her eyes tired but steady. This place isn't just a building, she said. It's people. It's second chances. It's everything I've spent years trying to build. Adrian listened, really listened. And you think I don't see that? He asked. She hesitated. I don't know what you see anymore. That landed deeper than anything she had said before. Adrian took another step closer, his voice softer now. I see you, he said. Elena's breath caught slightly. I see the same person who stayed up all night helping strangers, he continued. The same person who believed people could be better, even when they didn't deserve it. His gaze held hers. I just didn't believe I was one of those people. That confession cracked something open between them. Elena's voice softened. You don't get to decide that for yourself. Maybe not, Adrian said. But I did. Silence stretched again, but this time, it wasn't heavy. It was vulnerable. Raw. You left without saying goodbye, Elena said quietly. Adrian's expression tightened. I know. That wasn't strength, she continued. That was fear. He didn't argue. Because she was right. I thought leaving would protect you, he said. Elena shook her head slightly, emotion rising in her eyes. No, she said. It just broke me. The words hit him harder than anything else had. For the first time, Adrian looked shaken. And for the first time since his return, Elena saw something she never thought she would see again. Regret that wasn't hidden. Pain that wasn't controlled. "I never stopped thinking about you," he said. Elena closed her eyes briefly, steadying herself. "Don't," she whispered. "Don't say things like that unless you mean them." Adrian didn't hesitate. "I mean it." The air between them shifted. Closer. More dangerous. More real. But before either of them could say anything else, a loud crash echoed from outside. Both of them turned instantly. Adrian's expression hardened in a second. "Stay here," he said. "I'm not staying." "Elena." The way he said her name stopped her. Not commanding. Protective. Urgent. He moved toward the door quickly, every instinct in him sharpening. Outside, one of the center's windows had been shattered. Glass scattered across the ground. And taped to the door. A single envelope. Adrian's jaw tightened as he approached it. He pulled it off slowly, his eyes scanning it before opening. Inside was a single sheet of paper. 3 words. "Leave. Or else." But that wasn't what made Adrian's expression go completely still. It was the symbol printed at the bottom of the page. A mark he hadn't seen in years. A mark tied to a past he thought he had buried. Elena stepped beside him. "What is it?" Adrian didn't answer immediately. Because the truth changed everything. And for the first time since arriving in Chicago, Adrian realized this wasn't just about Elena. This was about him. Someone from his past had found him. And they weren't just sending a warning. They were starting a war. Adrian didn't sleep that night. The symbol on that paper burned in his mind, a small, precise insignia he hadn't seen in years. It belonged to a man he once trusted, and ultimately destroyed. Victor Salvatore Reeves. A ghost from a past Adrian had buried under ambition, power, and silence. "He's supposed to be gone," Adrian muttered under his breath. But men like Victor didn't disappear. They waited. The next day, everything unraveled faster. Elena arrived to find half the center empty. People were scared. Word had spread. Threats, subtle, quiet, effective, had begun circulating. Daniel pulled Adrian aside, his voice sharp. "This is because of you, isn't it?" Adrian didn't deny it. "That symbol. I've seen it before," he said. "Years ago. He was part of my world. I thought I ended it." Daniel clenched his jaw. "Well, you didn't." "No," Adrian said quietly. "I didn't." Elena approached them, reading the tension immediately. "What aren't you telling me?" Adrian looked at her. This was the moment. "I know who's behind this," he said. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Then say it." "Victor Reeves," Adrian replied. "He builds power quietly. Takes what he wants without noise. And if he's here..." Elena's voice dropped. "Then this isn't about a building." Adrian shook his head. "No. It's about control." "And you?" Adrian met her gaze. "It's about finishing something I started." Victor didn't wait long to make his move. That evening, Adrian received a call. Unknown number. He answered anyway. "Still wearing black suits, Adrian?" The voice was calm, almost amused. Adrian's grip tightened. "You picked the wrong place." "No," Victor replied smoothly. "I picked the right weakness." Adrian's eyes flicked toward Elena across the room. "She's not part of this," Adrian said. Victor chuckled softly. Everything you love becomes part of it. The line went dead. That was the turning point. Adrian stopped reacting. He started planning. For the first time since arriving in Chicago, the man who built empires came back fully alive, but this time, not for power. For her. Days passed like a storm gathering force. Adrian dug into records, traced ownership chains, followed financial shadows. Elena stayed by his side, not because she understood his world, but because she refused to run from it. And somewhere in between strategy and danger, they found each other again. Not the past version. Something deeper. One night, as they sat in the quiet center, Elena spoke softly. "I used to hate you," she admitted. Adrian didn't look surprised. "I know. But I never stopped loving you either." That hit harder than any threat. Adrian turned to her. "You deserved better than who I was." "And now?" she asked. He hesitated. Then said the truth. "I'm trying to become someone worthy of choosing you." Elena's eyes softened. "Then don't lose yourself doing it," she whispered. "But peace doesn't come without a cost." The betrayal came from where it hurt most. Daniel. Adrian noticed it first, small inconsistencies, strange absences. Then the truth surfaced. Daniel had been approached weeks earlier. Pressured. Threatened. Promised protection for Elena, if he cooperated. And he had. Not out of greed. Out of fear. When Elena found out, it shattered her. "You let this happen?" she asked, tears in her eyes. "I was trying to protect you," Daniel said. "You don't protect someone by breaking their world," she cried. Adrian stood silent, not defending, not attacking. Because this was human. Messy. Painful. Real. Daniel left that night. And Elena lost another piece of stability. Then came the darkest hour. Victor made his final move. The center was scheduled for demolition, accelerated illegally. No more waiting. No more warnings. And Elena received a message. Walk away. Or watch it burn. She almost gave in. Almost. Until Adrian stopped her. "You walk away now, you lose everything you are," he said. "And if I stay?" she asked. "You might lose everything you love." Silence. Then Elena took a breath. "I've already lost that once," she said. Her eyes met his. "I'm not doing it again." That was the moment. The turning point. Adrian made his final move. Not with violence. Not with fear. But with truth. He exposed Victor. Every hidden deal. Every illegal acquisition. Every quiet manipulation. Adrian used the very empire he built, not to destroy lives, but to reveal the truth behind them. Victor's silence broke. Public pressure mounted. Investors pulled back. Authorities closed in, not dramatically, but steadily, like a wall tightening. Victor lost control. And men like him couldn't survive without it. The confrontation came quietly. An empty construction site. Just Adrian and Victor. "You chose her," Victor said calmly. Adrian nodded. "I chose something better than this." Victor smirked faintly. "You gave up a kingdom." Adrian's voice was steady. "No," he said. "I finally built the right one." The center was saved. Not perfectly. Not easily. But enough. Repairs began. People returned. Life resumed. But this time, it was stronger. Because it had been tested. Weeks later, Elena stood outside the building, sunlight warming her face. Adrian walked up beside her, No longer just the man in the black suit. Something softer now. Something real. "You're staying?" she asked. "If you'll let me," he said. She smiled faintly. "On one condition." "Anything." "No more running." Adrian nodded. "No more running." Daniel came back too. Not as he was before, but changed. Honest. Accountable. And slowly, forgiven. Because that's what Elena believed in. Second chances. And Adrian? He didn't rebuild his empire the same way. He changed it. Piece by piece. Less control. More purpose. Because power without humanity had almost cost him everything. Months later, the center thrived. Laughter returned. Hope grew. And one evening, as the city lights came alive again, Adrian stood beside Elena, his hand gently holding hers. "I used to think power was everything," he said. "And now?" she asked. He looked at her. "Now I know, it's who you choose to stand beside." Elena smiled. And this time, he didn't let go. Because in the end, the devil in a black suit didn't lose his kingdom. He redefined it. And chose love over everything. And somehow, that became his greatest victory.